If not, no worries. Google have everything. There are so many resources available actually online. I used to tell my students that there are so many webinars or so many certification courses are happening which are free at the moment. Let's take the advantage of this pandemic actually and have those certification actually, which are not free earlier, but now it is actually. Then it comes to the research and development and benefits of virtual learning. What are the benefits actually? In a nutshell, we can say what are the benefits. You don't need to go to the classroom every day. You don't need to get stuck in the traffic. Not necessarily that you have to travel all the way to your university or institution. I'm not joking, but these are also can be the factor or can be the minor benefits of virtual learning. Now, the major slide of this session actually, how and why the new normal in higher education. And if we look at these 5 major points, if we look after these points, then probably we can convert, we can twist in a way that it can go to the in terms of benefit of teacher, academician, as well as the student. Okay. Online education as an imperative for institution. Number of universities are having LMS, learning management system. We have TIMES, such as a Google Classroom, Moodles, Blackboard Learn, Canvas, enable students to complete assignments, deliver presentation, take assessments, and receive immediate feedback to the teachers online. Not necessary that we have to invest in those platforms actually. Everything's available. Let's use the Google, let's use the Microsoft, let's use the spreadsheets actually, Excel, let's use the Google Drive, let's use the Dropbox. There are so many ways actually, which Edmodo. So there are different tools actually which can be used to avail these benefits actually, and those can be in the benefits of students. Now I try my best to compare what was happening earlier and what's happening now actually. Earlier, when we used to give the present any assignment or assessment to the students, still students are meeting online. They are having a WhatsApp calls, they are having a Facebook calls, and so on. Also, they are meeting on brainstorming. They are having a meetings very, very often in the university to delegate the job. Who is the group leader and what the job is given to each group member. And now they are meeting online again, and they are using the same spreadsheet, same account, which earlier they were using actually. So everyone can access, everyone can edit actually. So there's not much difference actually. Depends how much techno-savvy the students were earlier. But probably now, whoever is being born, probably they are born with Android or Apple phone. It depends in which country, it depends in which family you are born at the moment. Use of open book, open textbook, just now as explained, it's not only limited to your physical library. Now, Google is your library actually. There are so many textbooks available. As a researcher, when of course, we have a very limited funds at the personal level. We can't buy all the resources, all the articles, but ResearchGate is the point actually, or Google Scholar is the point where we can find what resources I have required and who is the author of it. Let's email them. Let's send them an instant message. Can I have your article? And it's not due to this pandemic actually. It's due to their own selfishness. Actually, our selfishness. We are very greedy for citation actually. No worries, sharing is caring. I can send you. Blended learning and flipped classroom. Government is to off of this lockdown, we will begin to see schools adopting the blended learning approach. Some of the universities, some of the government have already lifted. Some probably I can see this Dr. A. Punuswamy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is in his office now. It means the university has allowed him to come back to the office, come back to the university. But I'm not really sure about your students. I'm not really sure about the other universities actually.
Yeah. Actually, only the teachers. No, the teachers are allowed to come.
Exactly. Number of universities in India has already allowed the teachers and the staff to come back, but not for students actually. But I believe this is a fantastic idea. So the staff or the lecturer can still be in their office, be in their normal environment, or if they want, they can go to the classroom, empty classroom. At least they will have their feelings actually. So we can so they can deliver their speech, they can deliver their lecture in a proper manner, rather than locking themselves in a house environment where we have a kids, where we have a family. Not necessarily everyone is having a proper room, study room setup actually, and also lots of equipments which we are required. Probably in university we have a fantastic environment with printer, with a scanner, with a laptop, with desktop, with a mouse, everything. Not necessarily everything we brought back home to have this online learning actually. So it's having a blended learning plus flipped classroom together at a time, bridging the digital divide with offline learning method. Now it's bringing the bridge in between actually. School transmitting to online learning is the widening inequality to access to the usage of ICT. Now, not necessary. ICT in your region, in your country is that cheap. For Wi-Fi, not necessary that everyone can afford good Wi-Fi. Everyone can afford good 3G. Same thing is happening in Philippines, in Indonesia, in China as well. It's not necessary actually. Philippines is one of the worst case actually. So but if we look after Hong Kong or Singapore, fantastic packages and free Wi-Fi is available actually. So to look after these things actually is not only job of university or the job of university. Actually, different stakeholders have to work together to bring this message from university to the student. In China, government, the Ministry of Higher Education worked with a telecom industry and came up with a new channel. It's a national level channel actually, which is free and can be broadcasted and everyone can access it. Now, of course, it's at the different level. It's not at the university level. It's normally at the tertiary level actually, where kids cannot go to the school. Then we have this online education at the core of every school's strategic plan. This is important. If you really want to be in the industry, if you want to survive, if you want to enjoy the fruit what you were having earlier as well, you cannot run away from this. You have to adopt this online education dilemma or whatever. You take it as a positive or negative? No choice. You cannot run away. You have to. Online education will be the priority, not only as the potential source of revenue, but also acknowledged as the core of schools' strategic plan for institutional resilience and academic continuity. If you want to continue the business of teaching, business of education, you cannot run away. Because earlier we used to say, yes, it's not that easy, it's not that cheap, it's not probably affordable. But now, due to this pandemic, overnight, probably within 2 weeks, schools came up with a new online platforms actually. They came up with a new strategies. They came up with a new proper SOPs actually. What to do, how to do, and how to assess the student actually, and so on. So it's not only, again, top level management. It's not only the HOS or the dean of the faculty. It's all the lecturer actually. Let's call the meeting at the different level and have some brainstorm. What to do? I will continue in a short while. Dr. Anu, there are so many messages coming up that they cannot see the PPT actually. I think they didn't pin that PPT mode, right?
Sir, I have already instructed to pin your presentation, sir. YouTube live streaming also going on now, sir. So need not to worry about it, sir. You please continue, sir.
Sure. Thank you. So continuing with this same point, online education, despite technological advancement, the difficulties and the limitation posed by technology are challenges that every teacher faces when using technology inside the classroom. We were earlier also using technology in the classroom actually. Not necessary that we have to bring our laptop. Not necessary every classroom have that desktop. We can access our PPT through our mobile phones, through clouds, from anywhere actually. So the COVID-19 crisis presents an opportunity for the education sector to come together, forge connection, and share what works and what cannot work. So there are a few of the challenges which I have listed, or the strategies to come over actually. The first thing is supporting students actually. This is the most important actually, because in this pandemic, before I talk about this academic thing actually, I would like to share one example. Number of universities, number of companies, number of institutions are getting rid of number of staff, or they are reducing their salaries and all those because we cannot run our business and so on, these financial issues. Well, but there was an example in India actually. What paint was Asian Paint, probably, if I'm mistaken. They came up with the idea against the wave of ocean actually. Instead of kicking the staff out, instead of reducing their salary, they gave extra salary. They gave the bonus, probably the pandemic bonus, because they realized this is the time where we can bring our staff, or we can make our staff loyal up to the higher level actually. And this is the time, if we don't care about our staff, if we don't care about our the internal or external customer, we will be facing long-term issues. So supporting students actually, it's not at the academic support, it's not the technology support, sense of community, also the health and well-being. I have a habit, actually I made my habit, every class I start with how are you, and how's everything in your environment, how's everything at your house. So that doesn't take long time actually, but at least it delivers the message that I do take care of them as well as their family actually, because we don't know if someone in their family got this virus issue actually. So everyone has to go on a quarantine and so on. So health and well-being of the staff as well as the customer is the most important. Academic support. It's not only the delivering the lecture is my job actually. Are they getting this or not as well? Face to face, it was quite easier for us to assess. Okay, are they with me or not? Physically, mentally, so I can ask the question immediately actually. Okay, but right now actually I can't, because most of the students don't turn on their cam and they are mute. So most of the time I'm talking one-sided only. At least they are showing me a thumb that they are with me actually. And I came up with a different platform where I'm meeting. I have started communication with them actually on YouTube, on Facebook, on WhatsApp group, and on Times. We came up with the different platforms to communicate, because communication is the most important tool. Now technology support. I'm teaching number of modules and my students are from like 6-7 different countries. One of the degree module I'm teaching and my students are from 6 different countries, including China, Korea, Japan, France, Spain, Pakistan, India. No one is having issue except the time zone. So my class is at 8 o'clock a.m. It's fine for me because I have to follow the Malaysian time. But France and Spain, they are having issue. So no worries, you don't need to come online, because my session will be recorded and will be available immediately after the class. Go, listen, watch. And after that, we have some discussion question. And those discussion are made in terms of a Google Docs actually, where every students have to input some of the data. So at the end of the week, actually, I can assess actually what exactly students are facing issue or any problem. The second problem with regards to technology, the students from China cannot access YouTube, cannot access our internal portal, the Times, where we used to make our videos available. Never mind. We can put in a Google Drive and share the Google link. Now, only the problem is if they are having a good internet speed, then only they can access. But it's fine also. After having a good discussion with our ICT, in ICT department, actually, they sorted out and now they can access everything in China. Collaborative approach. This is a time where we have to change our thinking. We are not here to fail any of the students. Of course, a student's level is different. Some students are very intelligent, some students are good, some students are some are very, very poor. But it doesn't mean that being a rigid, being a hard traditional teacher, we have to tell that poor children. And some more, this is a techno thing actually. Not necessarily everyone is that case actually. They are having a Wi-Fi issue. Just immediate before this session, actually, I was having a class, and the students were supposed to present online their some group project. But two of the students just messaged me, Wi-Fi issue cannot. 3G came. Not necessary that you on your video cam. Just come as a audio or call a number. At least you be together with us actually. Or record your video. Few of the assessments, we ask them to record yourself. Making sure that it's recording the audible and visible properly actually. Record yourself. At the end of the day, we have to assess. Just listen them rather than we compromise with this quality and we talk about this negative thing, ICT issue and so on. Because having a positive approach, we have lots of other free resources available. Collaborative project. We change our marking rubric. We change our assessment plan due to this particular pandemic actually. Peer reviews. Rather, I review the assessment of student A. I ask B to read today any of the topic, or can divide the class in a number of groups and assign the same thing what I have discussed actually. So just want to know what exactly they got. But now online also we have different options available actually. Like I use normally Zoom for my classroom. Zoom can have a breakout session, or I divided the class in a different groups. Well, class is always divided in the very first week of the start of the semester because of the group assignments and so on. So it's better to have the same group throughout the semester for a different assessment. And normally groups are always formed by students. I don't want to make any group because that will be another headache. After some time, after 3-4 weeks, because students being a student actually at the different level, I don't want to work with the XYZ person, or that person is not the team worker. So it's better to create your own group, and that headache you can be dealing by your own. So there are like 5 different ways. So 5 major points I would like to disclose, or I would like to share with you all. Get their gears printing, exercises, challenges, and breakout groups. As mentioned, don't make too long for your talk, and don't make like you have to talk only one-sided. Breakout group discussion, exercise, challenges are always important actually, where you can have the interaction with them, where you can have the attention of the students actually, that they are active physically as well as the mentally. Because sometimes when we meet face-to-face student, actually physically they are available, but mentally they are thinking something else. What they will be eating for dinner, where they will be going for the next vacation, what they will be doing in the on the next holiday, where to go with my girlfriend, XYZ. Lots of things are happening. So how to bring the attention actually, that physically and mentally you are available in this class. I'm sure there are like 270 participants, and majority of you are academicians, like lecturer or HOS or the dean or principal at the different level. Whenever you teach your class actually, and you have a participants, students of like 35, 40, 50, do you remember their names? I don't actually. Sometimes when I have a class of 10 students, it's very easy. Or if I have taught the same students earlier, then it's very easy. But if I have a new students all of a sudden and we have a 35 students, I don't remember. And especially I have a problem with those Koreans and Chinese name to pronounce also. So no worries. If they have an English name, good. Otherwise, give something, some nice name to them. So because it's very easy when you recall their name actually. So it takes normally 1, 2, 3 weeks, but after that, fine. At least I remember that girl, remember that boy, that who is he and where is he from? Or what is the name, easier name which I can pronounce, or what is the name which I have given to him. Because if he pronounce with the name, that person knows, wow, the lecturer knows my name and he can call me anytime for any sort of thing. That's one way of attention, getting the attention. When your audience is asked to directly involve with something that is happening, the chance that they will be wondering I is minimized. If I meet 100 participants actually, and if I would like to have an eye-to-eye contact actually, and if I'm going to ask something, normally they don't look at me actually. They just try to bring their eye here and there. And that will be the disaster if I don't remember their name also. But if I remember their name, it's very easier job for me. This cloud, or this could be as simple as write down the 3 things that fill in right now. What exactly you got out of this 45 minutes webinar, or what you got. As mentioned earlier, 35 minutes talk or lecture by my side, after that break, and 1 hour for the students actually. That what you have learned, either volunteer, either in a group or anything. Second thing, be spontaneous. It's a human nature that we get bored very, very easily actually. If I listen to my students' presentation, yes, I get bored actually. If there is not some interesting thing actually. Now, I learned the thing, how to make it interesting, but it's not the student's job. Probably they will be taking longer to make it interesting. The brain needs stimulation to keep activated. Start searching for something else to be interested in. If my presentation, if my session, if my talk, if my voice, or if my look is not interesting, they will be physically available but mentally somewhere else, which we don't want. So number of research also mentioned that we get bored very, very easily and very quickly actually. So brain needs stimulation to keep activated. This is why monotony is so boring to listen to. Regularly and spontaneously change your things actually. If you keep surprising your audience, how to surprise the audience now? What normally the students like actually? Probably they get bored if you see them again and again with a number of things for the same titles actually. So rather, I don't want to meet them again and again. I invite influencer. I invite motivational speaker. I invite academic speaker as well as the speaker from industry. So if I need to cover a particular topic, I just go to my LinkedIn account and I check who is in my contacts, who can be the good one to talk for 30 minutes on this topic. So rather I talk about that topic in the class, I invite that guest speaker. Thank you so much for being, and you may look after. So that will be slightly attentive by the student also, because they are seeing and they are listening to the new person. But of course, if they are from industry, slightly different, because they normally share their experience rather than a theoretical background. So I try to touch up with the theoretical background in a short time, in a conclusion later after. Also, it can be a gifts actually. Now, for the students, the best gift could be the marks actually. If you answer this question, you will get extra marks actually. We can say copies of your book, or free consultation, whatever is topical or valuable to your audience. It can be a chocolate as well. I have received number of chocolates in a number of international webinars. I mean the seminars actually, where the speakers actually used to bring number of chocolates or trophies even, and they ask number of questions actually. Whoever gets that chocolate or toffee doesn't gives any benefits to us. But there's something actually that out of that 80 participants, only 5% got that thing actually. And who was so prompt So the first person to raise their hand to answer that question, actually, that's my opinion, not necessarily my answer is right or wrong. Actually, nothing is wrong. It's just an opinion. It's just an experience. Third one, choose a random audience member and work with them directly. So in the class, actually, online, we can, again, we have to remember the name, but online actually is available. The names are visible over there. Get their name and ask them person. Rather than, is there any volunteer for this question or anything? Of course, no one will be volunteer actually. Ask them. Instead of talking about things in a theoretical term, pick a person random directly from the audience. Like in a tourism classes, normally I have to share a different examples of different trips. Like I talk about my vacation in Bali last year, actually, that how Bali is different actually. So I'm trying to talk about myself. Then I try to ask someone, okay, XYZ person, have you been to Bali? Have you been to Langkawi? Have you been to Phuket or anything? Then tell me, how was your experience over there? So I'm trying my best to engage that student actually. Then everyone will be wondering actually, I went over there. How was my experience if I put myself in their shoe, and so on. So engaging is another. If you ask one person, 10% will be attentive. Probably next is me. Instant poll. In Zoom, we have an option of instant poll. Are you agree? Yes or no? Is it my webinar? Is it my talk catchy to you? Yes or no? But I'm not really sure about this this portal, Meet Google. Actually, this is the third, fourth time I'm using, but I'm not used to it actually. But Team also have, and a few other portal also have, and online also different websites. We have this type of instant poll actually, where if we want to know their opinion actually, instantly. So again, when during this talk actually, if you get the link, how do you rate actually, or what are the options you will select from A, B, C, D? So it will be attentive actually. Wow, my mind is working. I'm thinking right now. So instant poll will be another option to have the to being spontaneous. Change things up frequently. You have to change your things very, very frequently actually. Normally the SOP is that we have to update, or we have to upload all the slides for throughout the semester at beginning of the semester to our online portal. But I don't follow. I don't do that thing, because I update my slide until the last minute, because I have lots of statistics, tourism statistics in my slides. And if I talk 1 month back statistics or anything, or any case study, which is not appropriate anymore. So I have to update on a simultaneous basis actually. And the things get changed actually, especially if we want to talk anything about COVID-19, we have to check like half an hour before or 1 hour before going live for that session actually, because things are changing very, very faster. Researcher at the University of Washington, his peer-reviewed studies as well as his own studies and observation shows that our brands will inevitably start to get bored after mere 10 minutes. So after 7 to 10 minutes, if our brand gets bored, what to do? How to bring back that brand? How to bring back that attention actually? So what should we do? Limit every webinar to 20 minutes only. We really don't like this type of sessions, 1 hour sessions actually, but sometimes it's good also. So let's have a practice of panel discussion. Let's have a discussion of like 15 minutes to each panelist actually. So 3 panelists, 45 minutes, and 15 or 30 minutes for discussion actually at the end. Or no, even a single minute to any panelist. All the panelists are from the different background, from different industries, different resource person, and they are available to discuss on a particular topic. And now 3,000 or 300 participants are watching them live. Let's have their question. Before we start the session, we can ask the guests, ask the participants also to have the question, what type of question you would like to be answered. And any particular part, any particular speaker, panelist or anyone can answer actually. Rather than having a 1 hour or 2 hour session, actually break your session with a 20 minutes, 30 minutes, have a break for 5 minutes, and after that don't start again. Let the student start, let the other speaker starts actually. Host and multiple speaker, when we have a moderator and we have a number of speakers actually, so it's always good because it's like a 2 to 3 ways conversation is happening. Also the number of audience, number of participants also get involved, and we really invite our students, we really invite our participants to have a good discussion. And please argue, please say no that I don't agree with you, or please say that you are not updated. Yeah, this is true, but until last 6 months, now no more. There are so many new studies, so it means that's challenging actually. So I have to prepare, I have to update my knowledge on a timely basis. It's not necessary that speaker is supposed to be the knowledgeable person. It's always most important that how much the participants are resource person, how the participants are updated with the accurate knowledge, how much they review that type of things on often basis actually. So host and multiple speakers and the panel discussions are most important. Also try to bring a number of videos in your in your talks or in your classrooms actually. Rather talk yourself actually. Try to visualize, try to bring there are so many videos available actually. Don't try to Google everything actually, YouTube everything actually, because I like to watch rather than read actually. And research also confirm that if we see something, if we visualize something, if we eat from our eye rather than eating and testing it from your tongue actually, it remains longer somewhere on the somewhere in the back brain actually, and we can recall it anytime. So rather I read, I like to watch it actually, and YouTube gives you everything actually. It's something like a Google, but at the upgraded level with a visual visual videos and so on. So try to YouTube it rather than Google, and try to download the videos related to that topic which you are going to discuss or which you are going to present in your class actually. So make sure that you stay on the top of the particular discussion, asking questions to the panelists that are directly related to the topic of the webinar rather than talking here and there actually. So panelists are definitely resource person, that's why they are invited. But I believe those audience actually, that is also supposed to be very choosy. Who is supposed to join for this session, who is not supposed to join for this session. So this talk specifically is for academician at any level actually. Blow them away with a great slide deck actually. This takes slightly longer actually. I like my slides to be very, very presentable actually. I don't like that slides should be very, I shouldn't use the word of ugly. Okay, I don't like the slides to be boring actually. I don't like the slides to be full of text. I don't like the slides to be black and white. I don't like if each slide is not having even a single picture or graphics actually. So slides are most important because that's the first impression. If you go to the class and if you didn't shave for last 1 week actually, it means you really don't care about your own look actually, hygiene practices and so on. So the same way actually, we are here to present something actually. So that is the first impression actually. First impression always stays longer actually. Nothing gets audience to visually disengage faster than a boring set of PowerPoint slides. So slightly work on the slides is also most important actually. Content is definitely most important. Without content, slides, the best look of slide won't give you anything. But the both thing actually, don't have just points format or the bullet points and in the slides and then talk. No, look at the slide actually, how the slides can be much more at the best look actually. Use different colors, use different scales actually. Or maybe you can usually skip the slides altogether and it's just you are taking or talking head for however long your webinar can be. So without slides, nothing can be. So presentation slide from boring to engaging and shareable. Just Google this particular line. It will be directed to a particular website which can help you that how you can bring your slides at the super level, how it can be too catchy and so on. Even the Microsoft, this PowerPoint also gives you so many options for design. So, probably the latest version, I'm not sure actually. If you Google this thing, actually, if you YouTube this thing, you will get a fantastic links actually. Or after this session, probably today, I will be sharing a number of links with Dr. Anuradha as well. So she can share with you. Comprehension check, questions, polling, and snap takeaways. Instead of steamrolling throughout your session and hoping for the best, check in with your audience regularly after 10 to 12 minutes actually. Are you with me? Am I audible enough? I was just having a good eye on the chat actually that what are the new messages coming up. And there were so many issues with PPT display, but I think actually it's just with that you didn't pin that particular slide. The slides are visible actually, because it's always good to look after that your students, your audience, your participants are with you or not. If they are not, then it's useless actually, that you are going to spend 1 hour, your energy, your time, and no one is getting anything, even a single point out of it. That's no point actually. So let's be beneficial rather than boring and time consuming actually. How often do you check with your audience when you are hosting your webinar, your class? So I believe my every class is very webinar actually. So I try my best to make the thing visible, make the thing, the PowerPoint very catchy, and I try my best to bring a number of speakers from the industry actually. It's not only right now due to this pandemic or online actually, even though in a face-to-face also, we had a practice actually. We have a number of speakers from industry who used to come every semester actually, who are always available and so on. But obviously you can't see your webinar audience, which make this harder instead of steamrolling through your session and hoping for the best. So most of the time in online, when most of the audience don't switch on their camera also, so it's very hard to judge actually. Either you take a break for 5 minutes and let the audience to unmute and talk. What are the actual learning point out of it? Remember in the first or second slide, I mentioned about communication. This is the most important thing. Communication to your customer, communication to your stakeholder, communication in between department, communication from HOS to the lecturer, communication from the vice chancellor to vice chancellor, and DVC to executive dean or dean or HOS actually. Most important actually. If we don't communicate well, actually, we don't know where exactly we are. We don't know what's happening at the moment. We don't know actually that is my university taking care of it, or is it my university following what type of rules and regulation? Is it not sure that when we will be able to go back to university or not? So we don't know actually. So communication is the most important thing, sir. Multiple means of engagement enhance the connection of learning to choose objective and facilitate the learning expertise. Again, if there is a lecturer who is assigned with a particular subject to teach, you have a 30 students, please make a WhatsApp group with them. Please make a Facebook group with them. Please make a YouTube group with them, YouTube channel for that. Please, and I'm sure schools, universities used to have their own internal platform to engage students with lecturers and so on. So have a communication from different level, engagement from the different level actually. So if there is a presentation due which can be recorded version, you can submit on the YouTube actually. You can make it private, no worries. This is the slide which visualize technology apps portals for e-learning, which are being used in my university, which are being invested by my university for to facilitate the online teaching for us as well as the students. So before I go in further for this slide, want you to show this professional development online teaching and assessment webinar teaching schedule 2020. More than 100 webinars has been conducted by this this department, e-learning departments, as well as the ICT actually, that how to use that particular tool actually. And those recorded sessions are available on our portals actually. So this is for staff as well as the student actually. So how to download that thing? Because there are always some software actually which we can access from our laptop, but only while being in a campus. If you want to access that particular portal, you have to be engaged, making sure that you are connected with a particular Wi-Fi because of the privacy reason and so on. But when we came to home, now online teaching for last 3 months and next couple of months, so university came up with the idea, no worries, there is a link, go to it and watch that video. And online session was also going on. If you follow this thing, actually, you can access the portal from home as well. So actually, open portal all the stuff. So these are the different tools console. We can record our session and we can upgrade, we can update and we can upload on our tool, internal portal, as well as the YouTube, as well as the Facebook, anywhere actually. And this is, even though VLC player, YouTube player or anyone can offer you anything actually, but we have our own internal tool actually. Teams, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Edmodo, Padlet, gamified approach, Apple learning approach, social media. Now, some are free, some are not free actually. Now, it's all up to the lecturer what tool they want to use. They want to go for live for each session, or they want to record the session and upload, and they just want to meet the student for a tutorial session where they just have a question answer session or discussion. So it depends. Summative assessment, open book, case study, peer assessing, project-based, group-based, take-home exam. Now, not necessary that we have to come up with the final exam actually. Take-home exam. It can be a kind of case study. It can be kind of assessment where they have to calculate something. Like my one of my module where they have to come up with the travel itinerary and they have to calculate the entire package. They have to do the budgeting actually. So that can be done in the group also. It's a group project. Not necessary that every module, every subject should have a final exam. Exam means what? To assess different skills of the student actually. It's not necessary that we have to sit, we have to stand on their head, invigilate them for 2-3 hours while they are writing their answer. They can probably memorize the thing actually, and they can split on the answer script. Now, I don't believe that's the time actually. We should focus more on their skills rather than only exams and memorization and so on. So that's one of the way actually, that's one of the tool actually, this online, which got us 5-star for online learning. And we become #1 private university in Malaysia as well as Southeast Asia by QS ranking recently. These are my contact details. Please feel free to contact me. I will make available all these slides to Dr. Anuradha as well. If anyone would like to access any sort of information, please do contact me on my LinkedIn, ResearchGate, TELUS Expert, WhatsApp, Facebook, anything. Please write me an email as shown on this screen. I will be more than happy to share my knowledge as